I would say happy Tuesday. It's not a particularly happy Tuesday, as you can tell. I am still absolutely full of whatever it is I've been full of. I suppose I should have gone to the walk-in centre, but I'm not one for, you know, tickling off to the GP every time I get a cold. I think, however, sorry, I'm leaning in for my coffee. I think, however, I've got a chest infection. My chest is what we would call ruttling. If you know what ruttling means, it means that when you're breathing in, you can hear it sort of crackling and stuff. I did go yesterday to get my bloods done again. You know, I'm diabetic, as you know. And I don't know what happened to the bloods. They took them Friday, but they wanted me to redo them. Anyway, I went yesterday to have them redone, and the walk-in centre queue was about an hour and a half wait, and they were full of people. So I thought, no, I can do without this. So I just came home again. So excuse me while I have a slurp. I did do my Saturday Night Live, complete with dark glasses, because the eyes were just, terrible. They're not much better now, actually. But on Saturday, we're red with, like, when I say crying, I don't mean crying as in upset crying. I mean crying as in full of a cold crying, yeah. So, you know, I wasn't fit for human consumption, you know. Anyway, here I am. I thought I'd better show you what I've been up to. Not an awful lot, really. I did manage to fringe off the bottom of the Frida Kahlo style poncho. I did manage to fringe that off. Looks a bit raggledy, but I'm not going to trim it, because if once I start trimming a fringe, I usually finish up with a fringe about 1 inch long, because, you know, you like giving it a haircut. No, that's not level, giving it another one, giving it. It's better if you just give up and leave it raggy and just say that's the style. Leave it raggy. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's done. It's finished. Yeah, end of story. Yeah. So anyway, come on, I'll move Frida around a little bit so you can see a bit more of me. I'm wearing a nice necklace today. I don't know whether you can see it or not. One of my eBay specials. I have got some more that came the other day. Let me put my bit of paper. That's from the reminder bit of paper. I got some more that came the other day. This one's all wooden beads with like wooden twisted bits. This one I think I've shown you before, I'm not sure. It's like 2 hearts done in pink and green. Yeah. And then last one I got, I have bid on a couple more, but they obviously haven't arrived yet. Oops, that looks a bit lopsided, doesn't it? It's got to go in the middle. That's better. It's a white sort of engraved flower thing. Again with wooden. Wooden's in keeping with me, isn't it? Me boho look. And while I'm on the boho look, I got a new pair of trousers. Courtesy of Shine, which is S-H-E-I-N. It's very cheap and cheerful, and the material is quite cheap and cheerful. These are my trousers. They are supposed to be bell-bottomed. Whoops. Bell-bottomed trousers. But, considering they're about a foot too long for me, they probably won't be very bell-bottomed by the time I've chopped off it. You know, the bottom at least 6 inches I need to chop off him. So they won't be very bell-bottomed when I've got them. They're like a stretchy material, but they're very, as I say, summery, cheap and cheerful. By the way I'm moving at the moment, it'll probably be summer before I've hemmed them up. I've now got 3 pairs of trousers to hem up. My son said to me the other day, Mum, will you sew this bit on his hoodie that's coming apart? I went, yeah, can you bring the sewing machine in from the shed? He went, no, you can just do them by hand. And I thought, I've been trying to get him to bring that sewing machine in here from the shed for about I don't know how many weeks. If you knew how long a zip has been pinned in my fleece that I could be wearing, because it's a nice thick winter fleece, and I could be wearing it, but I can't sew the zip in by hand. It's like 3 or 4 thicknesses of fleece, and it's very thick polar fleece. It's not the cheap rubbishy stuff, it's the real McCoy here. So it was a nice try, wasn't it, while it lasted. So I did try to get him to bring the machine in from the shed. I'll have another go at him. I said to him, if you want me to repair your hoodie, it would be better if it was done on the sewing machine. Yeah. So we shall see. I've got so many things that need turning up. I think I've mentioned to you before. I must be shrinking. I know my spine's shunting, but we won't go into that. So all my dresses that fitted me last year, and now I'm tripping over the end of them because I've shrunk. So I'm not prepared to sit there hemming every one of my dresses, yeah. So what have I been finishing? Well, I sent away for underwear for my, you know, the mannequin things. They haven't arrived yet. But I did get my dolly, as I think I showed you before. I got my dolly. And she or he, he's a she or a he, depending on which ones. I've had some various names given to me. But I think I've decided on Leslie. I think it's going to be a Leslie, which is a boy or a girl name. I mean, people have said things like Jerry or whatever. Somebody said Hermione, but Hermione is definitely a girl's name, isn't it? So, this is what I think he is Leslie. Unlike Sam Smith, it's not going to be a they or a them. It's going to be a he or a her, depending on what it's wearing, yeah. Anyway, this one I finished off. I finally put the buttons on it. I did show it you before, but I didn't have the buttons on it. Yeah. It's loosely based kind of on a pattern that I did get online, but I cannot remember if I had to pay for it or not. It's called Sven sweater. Sven. S-V-E-N. And it's actually made by Moogly. I think it's Moogly, is it? That's done the pattern, I'm not sure. It's not very good at telling you who made it. But I think it might be Moogly, if you know who Moogly is. Oh no, it's copyright by Tamara Kelly. Yeah. Tamara Kelly. Oh yeah, it is Moogly. M-O-O-G-L-Y. Mooglyblog.com. So anyway, that's the pattern, if you can see it. I didn't do mine exactly to the pattern because I sort of, well, I got lost along the way, let's just say. I do my own improvisations. If I'm not reading something right, my brain was not working last week, so, you know. And I didn't do the loops for the buttons, I did buttonholes, because I don't like little loops on babies, but that's my preference. Nothing to do with the pattern. I did another one. Now this is a bought pattern. It's from Etsy. Now for some reason or other my treble three togethers came out as flat, whereas the treble three together on the pattern come out more like bubbles. But the way she described it wasn't the way that I would have made like bubbles. If I do it again, I will do bubbles my own way, yeah. And the buttons look a bit dark actually, don't they, on here, but they do look okay in daylight. And that was a pattern by, let me find a bit of paper where I've written it down. Oh, here it is. It's called My Little Rainbow Shop, and it's on Etsy. She has absolutely loads and loads and loads of baby patterns, very similar top-down type of baby patterns. I bought quite a few of them because she had a sale on when I bought them. So I did buy them very, very reasonably, but I think they've gone back up to the, you know, the original price. But having said that, she's not one of these who charges $5 and $6 for a pattern. She isn't. She's very, very reasonably priced. I think I said before, I don't mind paying for a pattern if it's well written and there's a lot of instruction with it. But I really hate paying like $8 and $10 and $12 for a pattern. And when you get it, you practically have to do it yourself because they're not very good with the descriptions, yeah. So, and the last one I've just this minute finished. Well, just finished sewing the buttons on. It's not been blocked. I don't know why, but everything I am making recently is coming out tiny. I can understand it when I'm using a US pattern that's supposed to be in your number 4 yarn because we don't have a number 4 yarn in Britain. We have 3, which is double knitting, and we have the Aran, which is thicker than your number 4. Your number 4 falls straight in the middle of 2 thicknesses in the UK. But this one was a UK pattern, so I've got no excuses for why this has come out tiny. But having said that, it'll be for a newborn instead of being for a 2022 like it was supposed to be. So this is what I'm using. It's this Kinko pattern, 3250? Yeah, 3250. It's a sweater on the front cover, but it's got 4 designs on it. I can't remember where I bought the pattern from. I bought the pattern before I came to Fleetwood, but it doesn't look that old of a pattern, so I'm sure you can probably find it somewhere. You know, it's not an ancient vintage pattern like I normally churn out. Yeah. So what I've been doing at the minute, as you know, we're doing things for the craft show, which, haha, you know, we hope to sell some stuff for. So yesterday, I went to the knit club at the library and I wasn't in the mood to do anything too sort of whatever. So I decided I would make a little bag. Yeah, it's a bit floppy, but it's only for a little girl, so she's not going to be carrying her whirly goods. But it is quite solid because I used 2 balls together, 2 strands together, to make it thicker, and I'm using a 4mm hook. It's quite sort of heavy going-ish, but I wouldn't call it stiff. I mean, it's not going to be holding much, is it? It's only for a little girl. I'm going to decorate it probably maybe with a flower or a little butterfly or something to make it look a bit more attractive for a little girl. What I was using was some remnants of yarn I found in the shed. I'd actually made, I think it was a cowl or a hat or something with this previously. It's ice yarn and it just says puffy double knit mix lot is what it says on it. Probably long discontinued, so I wouldn't hold your hopes up if you like ice. But it is pretty. But it's very sort of fleecy and very sort of stretchy-ish, which I don't particularly like using. It's not the easiest of things to crochet with when it's fluffy. I know loads of people, especially these sweet young things, make loads of stuff with this blanket yarn stuff, and to be quite honest, I'm like, not what I would use for a garment, you know. I mean, they might look very pretty when they've done them, you know. I mean, one of the ladies I sort of follow, she's just made shorts and a little top out of this very thick, like, blankety yarn stuff. And I'm thinking it's all very well if you're lovely and slender, but if you've got curves, you know, I don't think sticking chunky blanket yarn on your bottom is a good idea, but hey ho, maybe I'm just old-fashioned. I mean, to me, blanket yarn is soft, it's fluffy, it doesn't look like it's going to last long, it looks a bit like chenille. It's ideal for a blanket for a baby, but maybe even a pram coat for a baby, but I wouldn't have thought that it would stand up to the wears and tears of an adult. You know, especially where the shorts rub between the legs. When you're walking, you know, I think you'd finish up with ball bits, but that's my opinion. I mean, years ago in the shop we used to sell chenille, and it had an awful, awful rep should you say, that when you moved your arms about like that, you got these huge ball patches, you know, where all the fluffy bit wore off and you were left with the string. It looked beautiful when it was first done, and I made myself a lovely jacket in it. But with wearing it in the shop and you're constantly moving like that when you're serving people, I finished up with 2 huge ball patches under the arm, you know. There wasn't a lot you could do. I think it was meant for standing around in and looking pretty, and it wasn't meant for actually wearing if you were doing anything, you know. You were meant to stand there and look pretty in it, which, you know, sadly, unfortunately, I've never looked pretty in my life, but that's by the by. Anyway, the dogs are upset with me because we've had to block the garden off at the minute because my son's trying to reseed it. I think I told you the dogs gallop round at a rate of knots and they've churned it up. It looks like a racetrack when about 12 horses have thundered past, yeah. So they are making a vain attempt to make it into a lawn, you know. I mean, I think personally we should just give up. Either put flags down, you know, paving flags, paving stones, or we should get artificial grass. I think that's the only way we'll ever have a decent lawn. But, you know, my son, determined. And I'm not going to try and prove him wrong. Time will tell, that's all I will say. So the dogs are used to having the free run of the garden, so they're a bit upset because they're confined to a small part down the side of the house. So they're doing a bit of sulking. I mean, I think it was Trixie, but I can't be sure. But it wouldn't be Rosie, I don't think. I jumped into bed on Wednesday night feeling absolutely grotty, rotten, and what have you got? And my bed was wet through. And I'm like, what? Gets out of bed, puts the light on, a big patch of wee. Right where I was sleeping. So as it was about 2 in the morning and I was feeling rough, I thought, I am not starting hunting, looking for my other duvet, because it was under the up and over bed. And I thought, no. So I managed to turn it all the way around so that it was on the feet bit where I wasn't sleeping. So I was sleeping on the dry bit, you know what I mean. So of course the following day I was really poorly and my son had to take it to the laundrette for me, which was very good. At least we've got a laundrette. So everything got washed and dried. So my son's saying, you can't prove it was Trixie. I thought, well, it's not really Rosie. I've never known Rosie do anything like that. But Trixie is prone to do what I call a protest wee. You know, if she's been shut up or somebody's gone out and left her, yeah, she'll do a protest wee or a protest poo. She could have just been out and done one. She could have been on the longest walk imaginable. But no, she does a protest one, yeah. So I don't know whether that's a French bulldog trait or whatever. At the moment they're sleeping in the front room. I've tried my best to close off my bedroom, but Rosie has found a way of opening the sliding doors because they were closed. So she found a way of opening the sliding doors. Don't mind Rosie going in there. Rosie sleeps on the bed quite easily. But after that little debacle, Trixie is banned. Like I said, I cannot prove it was Trixie. My son said, it was a very big wee for Trixie. I'm saying, well, it spreads, doesn't it? You know, on fabric, it spreads. So either way, I wasn't a very happy bunny. I was feeling poorly. Anyway, I'm sure I will get better. The scooter squeaks. But I'm like, oh, goodness me. The pigeons seem to think that this grass seed is there for their buffet. And they are now nibbling all the grass seed off the top of the garden. My son is not going to be happy when I tell him. And I'm not going to stand out there like a scarecrow flapping my hands, yeah? So, never mind. Anyway, what was I saying? I can't remember. Can't remember what I was saying. My brain's gone fuzzy. Yeah, I've not been well all week. Not been well. But I'm not one that trips off to the GP every time I get a cold. It's just a cold that's kind of settled on my chest. Although this morning when I got up, my chest was so sore, I think it's been coughing all night, you know. But hey ho, we will get better. Oh, I know what I was saying. It was about my scooter. My scooter squeaks. I'm like, oh God, not another squeaky scooter. I'm going to have to buy earplugs. I am not sending the scooter back. I am a bit unhappy with it because it wasn't anybody's fault. It was my fault for not inquiring. But this scooter is £50 a month more expensive than the other one was. And, you know, when you're on a fixed income, losing £50 a month is a big chunk. So, you know, it's what I was using to save up for a holiday this year. So we're going to have to pull the horns in a little bit more, and we're going to have to do a bit more hard selling of the stuff I've got. I've decided I probably won't keep this. you know, I like it, and I probably would wear it occasionally, but, you know, if I could sell it, it would be more, you know, towards my holiday fund. So I will put my, what do you call it, underneath my email address, because I'm not prepared to put a price on it with the postage and that on my YouTube. Because bear in mind, people watch my YouTube videos months and months and years along the line. So this is why I never say a price when I'm on YouTube. If you want to know anything about anything I'm selling, or anything I've got that you think you might want to buy, I'll put my email address in the comments, on the, you know, the show box underneath. Email me, because that's the only way you'll get an answer from me. Because depending on where you live, it depends on postage, which is something I have absolutely no control over. I believe, fingers crossed, that we can start now posting out of the UK. I believe. I mean, we could do it a couple of weeks ago, but it would have meant I would have had to have done an online account, which I didn't really want to do. Because our sorting office here is only open between 7 AM and 8 AM in the morning, and it's way over in Fleetwood, so there was no way I was getting up at 5:30, 6 in the morning to trundle all the way over there with one parcel. Yeah. I know Tracy Crochet Rocks gets post office to come to her, but bear in mind she sells, it's crochetRocks.co.uk, I think, if you're interested in buying any wool from her. She does ship abroad, she does ship to the US. But she has many parcels per week to send out. So, you know, I mean, it was worth her while to do an online account. But for me, with my one parcel every now and again, you know, I didn't want to do an online account. I would rather trundle my way up to the post office and post what I've got to post there, yeah. But I believe that now I can. So when I feel a little bit better, I shall get in touch with my lady who wanted my granny's fur jacket, but she was in Canada, and find out, excuse me while I ruffle, that's a good cough. Wait while I get started on a bad cough. And see if she still wants it. I don't blame her if she doesn't, actually, because the poor lass has been waiting about 6 weeks. But it was nothing that was in my control. It was the blinking cyber, whatever it was, that attacked the post office. They wanted £66 billion ransom to... Anyway, the post office, quite rightly, didn't pay them. But that meant they've had to have people working round the clock trying to work out how to get around this glitch, you know. It's so wrong, isn't it, that people just want to hold people to ransom just because they're too idle to get what I call a proper job, work for a living. They just want to blackmail people by cyber affecting their whatever. Just watch, they'll probably cyber affect me now, you know. But I've not got 66 billion, so they're wasting their time with me. I haven't even got 1 billion. I haven't even got 1 million. In fact, I don't think I've got a... Yes, I have got a pound. It's on the table. It was my change from something that I gave my son the money for. So I've got a pound. It's on the table in there. But anyway, tomorrow I'm going out for afternoon tea with my evening knit club ladies at the Sheraton in Blackpool. I mean, to be quite honest, I don't really feel 100% about going. And I hope I don't start coughing on anybody, because they're all quite elderly and, you know, I don't want to give them anything. But it would be such a nice change to get out and about and do something different. I mean, I haven't done much crochet this week or anything. I've just felt absolute rubbish, you know. Absolute rubbish I've felt. And the actual weather is getting a tiny bit better. I knew it would. As soon as I got the scooter, I knew the weather would improve slightly. Yeah. I mean, the other day, the family was jet washing everywhere, ready to bring out the summer, you know, the garden furniture that's been stored in the shed for, not my shed, the other shed, all over the winter, ready for bringing that out. And that's when they decided to sow the seeds on the lawn and that. So that would usually be a sign that it's probably going to be horrible, the weather and rain, yeah. But, having said that, now I've got a scooter that's rainproof, the sun will come out. You can bet your bottom dollar the sun will come out. Yeah. But, you know, having said that, who knows? Well, I don't know how many more minutes I've got left on me timer. Usually I rattle on and on and on, don't I? But I think I've mentioned everything I've got to mention on my little list. Let me consult my little list. Yeah, that's all I've got to say, really. Except I probably forgot to press the button on me timer. Let's have a see what it says on me timer. Oh, it says I've got 3 minutes left, so I better hurry up and say ta-ra, haven't I? So I'm sorry I've been missing, but I really haven't been fit, you know, to make any videos. I'll try my best to make something a little bit more exciting for you, yeah. I've been trying to go into the shed, but it's been so cold, and I've, you know, having a chest infection, I didn't want to get any colder. I've ordered the underwear for my mannequins. It hasn't arrived yet, so they won't be quite so naked and rude looking. I was going to go shopping to get it, but to be quite honest, I called in a couple of shops and they didn't have anything. So I went online, you know, the good old online, as you usually do, don't you? So, but the shed is just like jam-packed now, I can hardly get in it. It's got so much stuff in it. So it just needs a really good sorting out. But as I say, I'm on my own with the dogs today, so there was no way I could torment the dogs by going out there and saying, aha, but you can't come on this little bit. Only Grandma is allowed on this little bit, because you're not allowed to run up and down on the lawn. So I thought I will wait for a day when the family are in and I can just go and shut myself in the shed, put the heater on, and try and do something. Hopefully by Friday I will feel a bit better, yeah. I will be going out tomorrow to the Sheraton. I'll be going out Thursday to meet one of my friends. The other one of my friends doesn't feel like coming out this Thursday because sadly she's just had to put her, well, she wasn't that elderly, but her dog, yeah. It's not been well for a long, long time, so it's been inevitable that, you know, the day would come when she had to say farewell. But as you know, if you've got pets, it's very, very upsetting when you have to do these things, so she's not in the mood for coming out to the cafe with us on Thursday, which I understand. I mean, we've had to make that decision with, what, at least 4 dogs and 2 cats in our lifetime. I think it's 5 dogs and 2 cats. And it isn't easy, and it's very, very upsetting. And of course little Gigi, I didn't have to make that decision with Gigi, he made it himself. He wasn't with me when he passed away, but he had a heart attack and died. He was only 8, which was no age for a little chihuahua. Sadly, sadly missed. I'm actually looking forward to seeing his new brother and sister. They were supposed to come last summer, but the day they chose, it was Tram Sunday at Fleetwood, and it would have been rammed with people, and I was going there anyway, so it wouldn't have been a good day for them to visit. Oh, and we also had family coming at the same time to see Tram Sunday, so it would have been a bit of a bad day, so I just had to put them off. So I'm hoping to see them this Sunday. This week we've had 4 teenage girls and 1 little 4-year-old boy, which was fun. There goes my 3 minutes telling me to go away, so thank you for joining me, and I hope to make some videos, maybe not. Maybe Friday, if I do get into the shed, you might see me again. Anyway, bye for now, and don't forget, if there's anything you're interested in that I've made or I've been making, my email address will be underneath. Please email me, don't put comments in the YouTube, because I probably won't answer you, but email me, okay? Bye for now.